Welcome to the United Stand. It's Friday night and I'm really exaggerating my tease. Hello and welcome, and we've got lots to talk about, loads to talk about, and it's Friday night, which means cheers, it's bank holiday weekend. And we'll be taking some of your questions and having a chilled out vibe as we do on a Friday night. Little less serious. But 3 transfers out of Manchester United in the next week before the European transfer window closes, and Lukaku's been gobbing off. I'm going to start off with Lukaku. Rough day today, says Javante Baines. We'll sit back and enjoy the ride. So Lukaku has basically come out and said that he's not that guy that plays hold-up football. You know, he's not that target guy. He's not this player who holds the play up and everything like that. He's a goal scorer, and the way he was being used at United is not right. He's been scapegoated. He's a goal scorer. When he plays for Belgium, he's at his best when he's facing the goal. That's what he does. He's not a guy who plays with his back to goal, holding the ball. Don't we bloody well know it? Don't we know it, mate? You know, what good are you? You're more chance of scoring own goals than goals if you're facing the wrong way. At least if you're facing the right way and the ball comes to you and bounces off you like a bloody trampoline, it might bounce in the goal. So I agree with Lukaku on that. But again, as I said this morning, what is he on about? What he's trying to make... He thinks he's something he's not. You're not Ronaldo. You're not Messi. You're not Alan Shearer. You're just a fairly decent striker in the box who's got nothing outside of it. And Manchester United got rid of you. And he basically has come out and said that, you know, there was all these rumours about United wanting to get rid of him. And all he wanted to hear was that, you know, they're a load of nonsense. He's a big part of our plans. And it was just radio silence. Nobody ever said anything. So, basically it was best for us to go our separate ways. Hello, wake up, Romelu. Like... What, are you walking around with like your Timberlands on your head as well? Like it was obvious that you were not what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted. He didn't pick you when he first came in, and it's obvious that you think you're better than you are and weren't going to sit on the bench. So without wanting to sound a little bit insensitive, when rumours of you leaving United in March and April were there and the club didn't say anything, you should have figured it out like everybody else did, that you're not part of the plans, and you go, and you just go. I think he's salty because he expected United to be like, oh no, he's a big part of our plans, when he's not. You clearly... Look, let's be blunt here. Lukaku will probably do well for Belgium and he'll probably do well for Inter Milan. But would Spurs want him? No. They've got a striker who can hold the ball up, play people in, and score goals consistently. Would Liverpool want him? God, no. Would Man City want him? Pep would not even let him into the stadium, let alone, not on the pitch. Chelsea probably would want him. I think Chelsea would like him, actually, to be fair. Arsenal wouldn't want him, and United don't want him. So, 1 out of the top 6 would take you, and that's because they've had a transfer ban and they're desperate. So... just go with a bit of humility and understand that it wasn't about picking on you. It wasn't about scapegoating you. We just didn't want you anymore. And that happens in football. Loads of people have left United with humility, and still love the club. Like, I can think of loads of players that have left. Andy Cole had his time. Yorkie had his time. I'm not saying about players who went on to better things like your Van Nistelrooys and your Beckhams, but people have been surplus to requirements and gone. And they go, and there's respect there. So look, Solskjaer Lukaku just needs to wind his neck in, really. Let's talk about these 3 players leaving the club. Alexis Sanchez is obviously one of them. Very interesting with Sanchez. I nearly did the title of the show, Should Sanchez Stay or Go? Should I stay or should I go now? Too old, that. A lot of you be too old for that. In fact, it's a shit song. It's a crap song. I hate it. So if you weren't born when that came out and you've never heard of it, your life's a better place. But with Lukaku, get rid of him. With Solskjaer, with Sanchez, should he stay or should he go? Well, interestingly, Manchester United are still set to pay 75% of his wages over this next year deal. So 75% of his wages is quite a lot of money. But should you keep a player because you're going to still pay all their wages, or do you remove him and build something? And I just think, however, to me it's not a sensational headline when I read United will pay 14 million to Sanchez this season even if he goes on loan because they've got to pay 75% of his wages. Well, you know what? Hello again. Hello. Like, I know that Sanchez was an expensive mistake, the biggest mistake expensive-wise we've ever made. But it wasn't Ollie's mistake. it was Woodward and Mourinho's mistake. And Ollie shouldn't be, burdened by that. I think if I'm Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I'm like, look, I don't care how much of your wages he's going to pay, because if he stays here, he's not part of my plans anyway. So at least you're getting 25% of his wages instead of paying, at least you're paying 75% instead of paying 100%, and you might be able to offload him. So move him on. Move him on is what I would say, because I don't really see. I mean, he's missed the last couple of days of training. We've got a big game tomorrow against Crystal Palace, and Ollie clearly doesn't really care about Sanchez. And to be honest with you, I don't. I think Flex said it was on the tour when he came back from the tour. I completely forgot that Sanchez was still a player, because he's not been on the tour and he's been in the Copa America, which isn't his fault. But I just think move him on. Move him on. Get out of our club, says that guy. Get out of our pub. Get out of our pub, Sanchez. Give Sanchez a chance, says XOH. All we are saying is give Sanchez a chance. No. Lou, what does Lingard bring to the table, says Taggart8. We'll talk about him in a moment. Paul Robinson says give him away. Lingard is worse than Sanchez, says Davy Fisher. A lot of people getting on Lingard's back at the moment. And I'd rather play Matic at wing instead of him, says Mr. Imagine, that's put a smile on my face, Mr. Cheese. And let's all just have if you've had a bit of a tough week or whatever like that, and you want to put a smile on your face, just listen to what Mr. Cheese has said there. Imagine Nemanja Matic as a left winger. Now that I would pay to see. I would pay to see that. Nemanja Matic playing as a left winger. That would be so bad it would be funny. So bad it would be funny. So yeah, I mean, I think Sanchez will go. And I sort of want him to go now. I'd be disappointed if he stayed, to be honest with you. But there are 2 more deals. I was sort of heard this afternoon that Rojo's going to stay. I was saying this on That's Football, actually. That Rojo does. It's Friday night, isn't it? Rojo does remind me of the women or the men. Let's be equal. Men can be dirty as well. That it's Friday night. You're down a bar. You're out with your mates, and there's a lady or a man, whichever you want, because I know we have ladies watching as well. There's something that takes your fancy at the bar, right? And whilst you're looking at that person on the bar, they're smiling at you. They're giving a wink. They've got the red shoes and the red lipstick on. We know what that means. Red shoes, no knickers. And they're eyeing you up. They're dressed up. They're really nice. You go and buy them a couple of drinks. They're dead interested. They're laughing at your crap jokes. They like your rubbish shirt. You think, I'm in here. And at the end of the night, they flirted with you all night. And at the end of the night, they go, I'm off now. What do you mean you're off? I've got to go home to my husband. But you ain't got a wedding ring. You've not mentioned him. I know, I just like to come out and be a cock tease or a fanny tease, whatever. And they're off. And that's Rojo to me. I just think he is a bit of a prick tease. I think he is like, oh, I'm off. Last transfer window, I'm going to Everton. This transfer window is going to Everton. Now he's going to Fenerbahce. I'm sure this has all happened before. But it is a deal I would like us to move Rojo off. I think Rojo has got his uses. I think if there's nobody else, like literally everybody's gone down with a sickness bug and the shits, and there's nobody else to play, then Rojo could play centre-back. But to be honest with you, we've got Lindelof, Twansebi, Maguire, Smalling. They're the 4 best ones. Then we've got Phil Jones. Then we've got Rojo. So I would move Rojo on, and I think hopefully we'll move him on. And Fenerbahce probably looks likely. So that would be 2 deals. That would be 2, and then third one's Darmian. I mean, I don't get it with Matteo Darmian. I mean, is he just like sat at home watching box sets of The Sopranos and Gomorrah or whatever like that, and pretending he's in Italy? Because he may as well be. Because I just don't get what he's all about. I just do not get what he's all about at United. So Darmian's got to go. I think with Darmian, that's just a typical United mistake, whereby he probably should have gone 2 years ago, and somebody probably offered 10 million, and we said we wanted 15. And then last summer, somebody offered 5 million, but we wanted 10. And then this summer, we probably want 5 million and no one's offering us anything, and he'll go for free. And actually, he's hardly played in 2 years. So we've just depreciated the value of an object, which is what he's basically become. He's like the old bloody guitar in the loft, isn't he? He's just probably plays a decent tune if you tune it up, but it's got cobwebs on it and everything, and everyone forgets about it. So yeah, I think Darmian will be the third player who moves on as well. Buster Nut says, I must say your singing brings a tear to the eye. Yeah, I know what you mean, mate. It's painful, isn't it? Grant Puckett says, dislike the video for hating on The Clash. Is that who sing it? Should I stay or should I go? I didn't even know that. But Darmian had the deal of his life at United, says Delo Holly. I know, it's been a great deal. I mean, I like Darmian. Disease Gaming says, respect for Darmian. I liked Darmian when we first got him, but it's certainly not turned into the transfer that I thought it was going to be, to be honest with you. And look, I just think let's move him on. I want to talk. Moving on though, I mean, look, we can't spend more than 30 seconds talking about Darmian. We're not that desperate. But moving on, I do want to talk to you about what's his name, Lingard and Angel Gomez, because a lot of people have been saying, well, maybe we should pick Angel Gomez tomorrow instead of Jesse Lingard. I disagree. I disagree with that. But I do think that Lingard is under some sort of pressure. And I do think Gomez should be given a shot. But I don't expect it to happen tomorrow. But I think what the good thing that's come out of this week with Lingard is, and a lot of people have said to me, you've been really against Lingard for the last 18 months. Well, not the last 18 months, but from last season, you were well against Lingard. But over the summer and into this season, you've really given Lingard a bit of a free ride. Why is that? Because you know what you're like. You're quite, you're like a dog with a bone when you don't like somebody, in a footballing sense. And I think that's correct. I mean, I've always gone in on Lingard. I think he's a bench player. I think off the field he acts. His brand is world class. It's just a shame as a footballer he's not even average. Brilliant branding. Well done to the lad. But I think my view with Lingard has softened quite a lot, and it's nothing to do with what he did in the summer, because what he did in the summer I thought was just idiotic. But I think it was that realisation when we didn't sign Bruno Fernandes, when we didn't replace Herrera, when we didn't replace Lukaku, that Jesse Lingard is 27 and he's one of the senior pros at the club, and he's come through the club, and whether we like it or not, he's important to this season. So I just thought of, subconsciously I think with Lingard, I thought, I'm not going to go in on him as much. And realistically, a lot of people are going in on him, and they're right. I think it's shocking. He's not had a major injury. And yet in 2019, I don't know how many games he's played in 2019 for United, but it's got to be north of 20, maybe 30. He's got no goal and no assist. And yet most of the time he's been playing as the number 10 or out on the right wing. So I think that's a shocking return from Lingard. But the positive is, he's got to deliver, because everybody knows now. That's a big stat that I wasn't even aware of that's come out in the last week, that Lingard hasn't got a goal or assist for United in 2019. That's appalling. And you know what? I do agree with this. When you get Jamie Carragher, Gary Neville, Sky Sports going on and on about Pogba and Martial consistently all the bloody time, and Lingard, we've not, imagine if Pogba hadn't had a goal or assist since in this year for Manchester United. He's a bloody midfielder, but still it would be made a big deal of. If Martial had done it, God forbid. So Jesse Lingard does it, and it's sort of, don't talk about that. Don't talk about that. It's Jesse Lingard. He's been part of the. He's a local lad, and he's from the youth setup, and he dabs, and he does he milli rocks at the Emirates. But then that's just told me something. He has scored in 2019, because he did score at Arsenal. I think people are talking about Premier League games then. You see, I always thought that stat was a bit dodgy. So yeah, he's milli rocked at the Arsenal, hasn't he? So he has done that, but that was the FA Cup maybe. But look, I'm not 100% if that stat's right, but it's not great, is it? It's still he's not doing as much as he should do. But I am positive about Lingard, and look, maybe I'm massively naive, because when you look at Lingard, apart from that period 2 years ago between December and January where he became Messi Lingard, he's been very, very average. Now, can he get back to being Messi Lingard, or is he just an average player? We're about to find out, because he's got to start delivering in the next few games, because if he doesn't, I think there are people knocking on the door who will take his place. Any news on Bruno, Marks? Is Riley HD? Come on. If you think of, I don't have any news on Bruno Fernandes. No. How good do you think Wan-Bissaka can be? Says Marky 9K. I mean, this is a guy who's come out today and said, I love tackling. I'm disappointed if I haven't got the best tackle stats at the end of the game. Well, he doesn't need to be disappointed, because he is like that, and he does win that. I think a lot of people have said it, and I do agree. I think Wan-Bissaka is going to be very hard to wrestle Player of the Year off him. Already, we've only played 2 games, and I already feel that Wan-Bissaka will be our Player of the Year. He's been absolutely superb. But it's early days. Brad Colin Young says, look, Lingard is still our best centre-attacking midfielder, unfortunately. And a player who consistent every 2 years isn't a United player, says Karen Took the Kids. I like that name. I just think Lingard on the bench would be good as well. I don't think we've ever been strong enough to play Lingard where he's meant to be, which is off the bench, last 20 minutes. He's good at finding space. He's energetic. I just think he's a bench player, but I just don't think we've invested in the midfield and the attack enough to be able to do that. One day we might. Let me just have a sip. Edward Lapper says, actually, the last time Lingard scored, it was World War One. Oh, I don't know whether that's a good joke or a bad joke. And Paul Robinson makes a good point. Great. Another defensive player winning Player of the Year. We want Martial to win it. That's a good point by Paul as well. You know, do we want Wan-Bissaka to be our Player of the Year? Manchester United, I think of the good times, very rare. I can't even think of a season where a back 5 player won Player of the Year, because it was all about up front. You know, so it's not about what you do from behind, it's what you do from up front. That's what she said. But no, he's right. He absolutely is right. Talking about players doing it from behind, Lindelof, not in that way. I mean, he's a centre-back. Lindelof's come out and basically said what a lot of us are aware of, that the fitness is the big thing for United's improvement this season so far. Everybody's a lot fitter. That makes you feel better, and you're more focused. And it's true. You know what? You think about your concentration levels when you're absolutely blowing out your arse because you've run around the block once or something. If you're a really fit person, your concentration levels are a lot better. I'm very excited about the game tomorrow against Crystal Palace, I've got to say. And we've got to get 3 points. I don't like putting pressure on the team, but we've got to get 3 points. That's what tomorrow is all about. But it's good to see Lindelof talking about that. Rojo Fanabache Pereira. I want to talk to you about this one, actually. I read this today and I was like, who are they talking about? Bayern Munich are interested in a United youngster to bring in to replace Robin. And I was thinking, who could that be then? Have we got some 16-year-old that they're going for? It's Tahith Chong. Apparently Bayern Munich and a few clubs from Holland are looking at bringing Tahith Chong in, and another couple of clubs from the Bundesliga. But his agent has come out and said that Tahith Chong wants to, compete for his place at Manchester United, which is good. I mean, I think Chong and Gomez and Greenwood, I mean, how many of them are going to be the real deal? If we're lucky, 2 of them. If we're really lucky, all 3 of them. But one of them will definitely be a future United player in the first team. And a lot of people would say it's going to be Greenwood. But I think Gomez and Chong are interesting, because I think what I like about Greenwood, Gomez and Chong is they're all 3 attackers, but they're all very different. They're not even competing with each other. Chong is more of a Giggs sort of winger. He runs at players, he creates chances, and he can score a goal. Greenwood is more of a sort of a Rooney sort of striker. He's got the flair, but his finishing is brilliant, and Rooney's finishing was brilliant when he was that age. And then Gomez is more of a... I'm trying to think of a United player that we can relate him to, because he's not going to score you loads of goals, but he's got flair and creativity, but he's not really a midfielder. So I'm not going to say Scholes, but he's... The name that comes into my head, everyone would laugh at, but to be fair, Cantona scored a lot of goals. And I'm not saying they're like that player, but what I'm saying is Rooney, Cantona and Giggs, very different players, but all attackers. Chong, Gomez, Greenwood, all different players, but all attackers. So they could all make it. But I like the look of Chong. I think Chong's going to fill out as well. And I really hope that Chong gets given the opportunity this season, because my fear with him is in the next 2 years he'll fill out physically, and if he fills out physically with what he's already got, he could be a superstar. So United do need to use him, but as I've said before, it's early days, isn't it? Because we've got a game a week. He's not even tweaking his bench at the moment. We've played 2 games and he's used the same set of players for both games, so it's hard for other people to get in. And obviously it's been confirmed that Dalot's injured and he's not back till after the international break now, so Ashley Young will still be on the bench, won't he? But there are some really good players waiting to come into that United team, and I'm excited. I just hope he's going to use them. And that is the good side. And Gordon Murray says Chong's just scored for the under-23s. Well, yeah, he's not going to be on the bench tomorrow, clearly, is he? Buster Nut says Lingard scores all the time at the under-21 disco and assists Rashi on his game. In other news, Bruno the ship was found at the bottom of the sea, sunk. Duck Buster Nut. Bruno Fernandes hasn't left Sporting Lisbon yet. My first hurdle with him is that he gets to the end of this transfer window and stays at Sporting Lisbon. If he ends up going to Italy or Real Madrid, he's never coming to United, is he? Sophie will be on the fan cams tomorrow, Farhan. It's only 2 games, Mark, says Stevenson Bell. Chong's the next flying Dutchman, says Big United Man. Fred, who is being sold, says Zane Scope. Sanchez, Rojo and Darmian. Chong scored twice, says Rupel. And improve your tomorrows, single track mind, says Vivek. And Rashi too needs to get to that 100k mark, says Vandy Candy. Sign Chiesa from Fiorentina in January. He's a right winger but can also play the number 10 position and up front if needed, says Final Frontier. I think Chiesa will end up at Juventus. I'm very surprised he didn't end up at Juventus this summer, but I think Juventus have spent a lot of money elsewhere. Aston Villa are winning 1-0 against Everton. Is that at Villa Park, Perry Adams? Let me know in the live comments. But what's going on with Fosu Mensah, says Sophie. I'm amazed at how many people talk about Fosu Mensah because he's actually injured till Christmas. He's only just recovering, so he's a long way off being fit yet. But Pereira's come out and spoke, another player. I mean, it's an interesting season for United because there's so many players that are sort of in that halfway house of, are you going to be a player that's part of the future? How many games are you going to get given? And on the preview for the Palace game yesterday, I did say that I wanted to see Pereira starting tomorrow because set-piece delivery is so important and we've got nobody who can do it. So I would start Pereira tomorrow. But again, he's come out talking about wants to win a trophy at United in this symbolic season for him. And again, I think Pereira's just an interesting one, isn't he? I mean, where does he fit in? I mean, he's at that point now where he's always been like almost on the bench for United, but his years are passing by. This season is a big season for him. Obviously, he started against Chelsea, which I was really excited about. And I don't think he played particularly well, but he did get an assist. And then you go away to Wolves and he's not in the team for Daniel James. And Daniel James doesn't play particularly well. So what will he do tomorrow? Will he go with James or Pereira back in? Or will he play neither and bring Mata in? Which I think would be a mistake. So it's going to be interesting. But I'm a firm believer that with McTominay, with Pereira, with Daniel James, with Rashford, with Martial, and with Lingard to a certain extent, I know they can't all play, but you've got to play them for 10 games. You've got to keep playing them. And I know that doesn't really suit Lingard, Martial and Rashford because they're established players, but certainly in the case of a McTominay and a Pereira and a Daniel James, I don't see there being very much point playing them for 1 game and then not playing them 2 or 3 games. They're going to take time. McTominay was very poor against Wolves, but he's got to play tomorrow against Palace because he did well against Chelsea, bad against Wolves, learn the mistakes, play against Palace, easier game. You know, consistency. And I'm interested to see whether Fred will start to get into the mix as well, because we know that Fred's been behind in relation to fitness because of the Copa America. Well, he thought he wasn't. He got married, actually, didn't he? So will he start to force his way into the bench, or is he going to be out on the periphery as well? Sri Ram says, if we have no injuries, where would we finish? I think that Manchester United this season are fighting for 4th. And I think that much of that depends on the last thing we want. I think Chelsea are going to drop points. I think Chelsea might drop points this weekend at Norwich. So Chelsea, I don't think we need to worry too much about them. They'll be in the mix, but I don't think they'll get away from us. Spurs have had a good start. 4 points from 2 games, 1 point away to Man City. Liverpool have obviously had a good start, and I think they'll beat Arsenal tomorrow. And Man City are just going to run away with it. So with Liverpool, Man City are just going to get further and further away from us. Spurs probably going to get away from us. Arsenal are the team to watch for, because Arsenal, if they got into a groove and started winning, they might open up a gap on us. So for us now, it's about 4th place. Who knows? You've got to reassess it game by game. But I think the first hurdle for United is, Where are we after the second international break in October? Where are we then? When Europa League kicks in, when Carabao Cup has kicked in, when you're playing 2 games a week every week, where are United in October? And then, if we are around the top 4, we've got a good chance. Do you think Ollie would ever put Pogba in the number 10 position, says Enoch Bentil? I don't think he would, but I think he certainly could play that position. But I think he knows that the midfield in the deeper areas needs Pogba's experience, and he does play deep for France. Imrano TV, why is Young so old? Why is Smalling so big? Why are people unsure with Shaw? Why is Lee taken for granted? Most of all, why is Jones not Stones? I know what you did there. Very good. Do you miss Ander Herrera, says Hader Official 786? With all my heart. No, I do miss Ander Herrera. And I said it at the time. And I had a lot of you lot, and rants again, hates Luke Shaw and didn't want Herrera. I said this to him the other day. At the time when Herrera said he was going, Rants and a few of you lot were like, I don't care, there's better players out there. And all I said was, I wouldn't let him go because the grass isn't always greener. In this case, there wasn't even any bloody grass. Forget what colour it is, there was no grass. Herrera field, that's what everyone did with Herrera. Oh, it doesn't matter if Herrera goes, we'll get somebody better. Over the wall, over the rainbow we jumped, and what did we jump into? A field full of shit, because the grass isn't greener because there's no bloody grass. It's just a shit field. And we can't get back with Herrera now because he's gone on to pastures new with PSG. That's the thing for me. I didn't really have an issue with what Rants and you lot were saying when you were saying, look, if Herrera goes, I'm not bothered. There's better players than him. Yeah, okay, that's a valid argument. But show me the goods first before we sell him. What's the replacement? Because here we are. Nothing's not better than Herrera. So look, that's what irritates me the most about Herrera, is he should still be at this club. If we still had Herrera here, he'd be our second best midfielder and we'd have another body in the midfield. He's gone, we didn't replace him, we're weaker. But there we go. That's what it is, isn't it? That's what it is. Curtis Sinclair, Herrera was our second best midfielder. He certainly was. I'm just going to ask everybody a favour, actually. Hopefully I've done this right. Okay, I have. Link in the video description says, that's football, subscribe here. There's 4,000 people watching. If 10% of you subscribed, then we'd have 400 subscribers. Basically, That's Football is my other channel. It's where I do watch-alongs for other games. Tomorrow evening, I'm doing Liverpool versus Arsenal. So if there's ever a game on that you think, oh, I'd like to go and do a watch-along with Goldbridge, get yourself on That's Football. But I do FIFA, United Career Mode. I'm episode 5 of this season. I've got Maguire and Wan-Bissaka. Arsenal, I've got Pepe. All the transfers have been done. And your generic football stuff, really. So please, please, please subscribe to that channel. I don't normally do that sort of thing, but I'm giving it a little bit of a push because it's on 85,000 subscribers and I would love to get it to 100,000 subscribers this season. So please do subscribe if you've not heard of it. Link in the video description. Just take a few seconds now to just go and do it. That would be great. Thank you very much. Little push for That's Football. Really appreciate it. And obviously, if you're going to watch Liverpool versus Arsenal tomorrow, get subscribed now and then you can join me at 5:30 after the United game. Good, lovely weather in the UK at the moment as well. But tomorrow, I'm indoors. I got Manchester United versus Palace, match reaction, then straight into Liverpool versus Arsenal, which I think is going to be a good game. We are tipped to sign Mike Oshurts, German centre attacking midfielder, says Buster Nut. Well, we can't sign anybody at the moment, so forgive me for not getting too excited about transfers. Wayne Barrett, do you think Lingard gets to play because he can be used in different attacking positions? Is that the kind of player United wants to play? We need an outright number 10. I think the thing with Jesse Lingard, and we'll take some of your questions now, actually, I should have said that. The thing with Jesse Lingard is that he runs around a lot and he's energetic. And Ollie loves that because he wants players to play high-intensity football. And Jesse Lingard's very good at that. The bad thing is, when you take that literally, Jesse Lingard is brilliant at closing down and running around and he's very energetic. But what's the name of the game? Is it football or is it army or is it TIG? You know, we are playing football. And when Jesse Lingard gets the ball, he's not creating enough and he's not scoring enough. And he's playing in the number 10 position. So, as far as I'm concerned, I would rather have a number 10 who can create and score goals, who doesn't run around as much as Jesse. Because we're there to win games. And I just think that the Wolves game, and we've got to move on from that. I remember those games again in March against Wolves. And we lost because the defence was crap and we didn't create enough chances with the possession we had. On Monday night, we didn't lose because the defence is better, but we didn't win because we didn't create enough. And where's the improvement? We're not creating enough chances. And we've been saying this for so long. Even when we were winning under Ollie, even when we went for 3 months winning, we weren't creating loads of chances. We've just always been quite clinical. But in the games where you're not creating the chances, we don't score. We don't create enough chances as Manchester United Football Club. So it's going to be interesting tomorrow against Crystal Palace. Count how many shots on target we have. How many times we create chances to score. Because that's where the problem is. And then when you accept that problem, you look at who should be creating the chances. Should Martial create chances as the highest point as the number 9? No. Should Lingard be creating chances? He should be creating more chances than anybody because he's playing as the number 10. Should Daniel James create chances? Yes. Should Rashford create chances? Yes. Should Pogba and McTominay create chances? Yes, but not as much as those players in front of them. So it's a team thing, but certain players, i.e. the number 10, Lingard, and the wide players, they've got to be doing more. We've got to create more chances. And also, that's why I think someone like Andres Pereira is very important, because when you do get your corners in the free kicks, it's very important that you've got somebody who can deliver a free kick or a corner, because they could lead to chances themselves, especially with Harry Maguire on the pitch. I don't know how Delo got injured, Hayden, but he is injured, and Ollie confirmed that today. Riley HD says 3-0 to United tomorrow. I'm going 3-0 as well. I'm going 3-0 tomorrow. All Lingard does is run around from the ball for 90 minutes. Have to applaud his stamina levels, says Disease Gaming. Look, I want Lingard to come good, because if Lingard comes good, it's another option for Manchester United. Yeah. Please do smash a like on the video, everybody. Let's see if we can get 1,000 likes while we're live. I want to go through some of your questions, so fire them in. Lingard has 99 celebrations and that's it, says Dimas H. That's the thing that I feel sorry about Lingard the most, really, though, is he hasn't scored in ages, and you just know he probably has got 100 celebrations ready. You know, all sorts of things ready. And it must be absolutely frustrating for him. He must be, he must be like a constipated, balloon, because he can't let it out. He can't let all this joy, he can't let it out. All the dances he's got, all the moves. He can't get his groove on. So, look, we all need him to start scoring. We do. Remy Adafoy says, Mata is creative, so why not start him over Lingard then? Because he's so slow. He's so slow. And look, Mata's creative. He couldn't even get the corner past the first man when he's just come off the bench. Like, he's fresh as a daisy and he can't bloody take a corner. I don't like Mata. I wanted Mata to go. I love Juan Mata. I think we all love Juan Mata. But as a footballer for Manchester United, I think he's done. I really do. I don't see why we kept him. And again, I mean, he's on the bench stopping Gomez, isn't he? Let's I'm going to be very blunt this season. I back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and I think we can have a good season. But I am going to be blunt because I think when you are rebuilding something, then it's got to be perfect. And you know what? If you're redecorating your living room and there's some old picture that doesn't fit in with all the mod cons, do you let your partner put the old picture up and go, yeah, let's keep it for nostalgic reasons? No, get it in the bin. It was good while it lasted. Crash into the bin. Let's move on. We're rebuilding something modern and good. The old picture don't fit. And I think with Mata, that's how I feel. I don't think we should have kept him at the club. And also, I certainly don't think he should be taking someone's space on the bench like a Fred or a Gomez, because they're the future. You're the past. Dig it. Mata's here as contract blanket for De Gea, says Dave Lindup. That could be true. That could be true. Greenwood instead of Lingard, says Michael Jones. I wonder when Mason Greenwood will actually get to start a game for Manchester United. Loads of people are asking me what beer I'm drinking. I'm not going to admit it. Rashford 7 instead of Sanchez. Greenwood new number 10, says Riley HD. I'm not really bothered about that. We should play Gomez as the number 10 role over Lingard, says Austin Sprida. And if we win or lose playing the same old players, what do we learn, says Paul Robinson. Absolutely, exactly. That is absolutely spot on. If you're grinding out results with the old players, you're not really moving forward, are you? If you are grinding out results with new players, then every game that you grind that result out, those new players become more confident, they become more talented, they become better players. Unfortunately, if there's a mountain, Gomez, Chong, Greenwood, Pereira, they've got more climb in their legs. Mata and Matic, they're coming down the mountain. So even if they have a good game, still going down the mountain. We want to go up the mountain, not down the mountain. We're Jack and Jill on the way up, not tumbling down after. Man United will make 6th, says Austin Britton. Thanks for that, mate. Thanks for that. Are we signing Llorente, says Irfan Khan. Apparently not. I've read this from a couple of people today. The Llorente thing, there is no interest from Manchester United, which, to be honest with you, I'm pretty happy about. I'll back any player who comes to the club. I'll always be honest about it, what I think about it. I didn't want Matic, I didn't want Lukaku, but I backed them. And if we got Llorente, of course I'd back him because he's wearing our shirt. But at 34, an ex-player that Spurs don't want, again, as Paul was saying, how is that part of a rebuild? How is that part of a rebuild? Did John McGinn score, says Luca. Luca's saying that John McGinn scored. I don't know whether he did or he didn't, but he's a player to keep an eye on for January. Early days. Let's not run before we can walk. But that reminds me of a story, which I can't repeat on here. I wish I could, but it's too rude. I know we've got young people watching. Mark, who do you think is better, Rashford or Martial? For me, Martial is the better footballer. It's all about consistency, though. Man United should make 4th this season with our new signings. It should be no problem. And we're going to win the league. We're not. Is it better to win the Europa League and get Champions League that way, says Prezolf. I think that the Europa League is sort of not in our minds at the moment. And I don't know when the Europa League draw actually happens. I'm just trying to check on my phone to see if I can find it. Although somebody on the live comments will probably do it a little bit quicker than I can. But with regards to the Europa League, if you look at the fact that Arsenal and Chelsea got to the final relatively easy last year, and then obviously Chelsea won it, then it is definitely a good route for Manchester United to make the Champions League next year. It's just a very hard route when you're up against the sort of games that we're going to be up against. I mean, I can't find when the draw is. I think it might be next Thursday. It's today. It's a week today. 30th is the draw today. So next Thursday is the Champions League. And then 30th of August, next Friday, is the Europa League. So we'll do a live show for that. But for United to get to the final of the Europa League, that would be 60 games. 38 in the Premier League. Another 50. I don't know. Look, you're touching 60 games. And my concern about it is, when you look at this Manchester United squad, honestly, do you think that midfield can do 60 games? I don't think it can. And I think fatigue could end up blowing both. So I don't know. But on top of that, what's he going to do with the midfield in the Europa League and the Carabao Cup? Like, even if he wanted to play a different midfield, I don't necessarily think he can. Like, if his first choice midfield is Pogba, McTominay and Lingard, his second choice midfield is Matic, Fred and Pereira. I don't know. I just don't think we've got the depth. But I think the Europa League might be right. But this is why we've got to assess it month by month. Because what I want to see is Arsenal starting to drop silly points again. Because if they drop silly points, I think Chelsea will drop silly points. And it gives us a little bit of leeway ourselves to drop silly points. But if Arsenal start getting very consistent, because they're finishing 3rd or 4th tops, then 4th might start to get away with us, and I don't want to see that happening. James C. If Mata keeps taking Gomez's place in the squad, we will lose him to Barca next summer. They have been sniffing since he was 15, and he is ready. I think he is ready. And as I said, you've got Bayern Munich sniffing around to Heath Chong as well. These lads are ready. They've got to be given their chance now. Not next year, now. And I firmly believe that. I'm an Italian fan of Inter, says Andrea Catalona. I watched all your video of Lukaku transfer news. Any news about Sanchez from England? Well, there you go. That's nice. I think he will be joining you, mate. I do. I think United are open to the move. I just think the stumbling block may be how much of his wages you can pay, because he's on £400,000 a week. So he definitely wants to leave United. I think United will let him go. It's just about the wages. So, yeah. And to be honest with you, I think Alexis Sanchez will do quite well in the Italian league, because it's a little bit slower than our league, and he's lost a bit of pace. So I think he will do well. Wolves will be difficult opponent in the Europa League, says Science Lover. Well, we won't be playing Wolves in the Europa League till next year. And Ed Woodward's stupidity will cost us top four, says Kevin White. I think we're always going to go back to that for a little bit, aren't we? We're always going to go back to we should have spent more, we didn't do enough in the midfield. And it's right. We didn't replace Herrera as the one that really winds me up. But it is what it is. We go with what we've got. But as I said this before, it makes me laugh how quiet it's gone around the Glazer Out movement, around the United fan base. Yet in the summer, when we still had an opportunity to sign players, it was trending every bloody Wednesday. You couldn't move for Glazer Out stuff when the transfer window was open. Now it's shut and they have failed us. The Glazer Out movement's disappeared as well. It's really like, this is what I said. This is why I personally didn't get involved in the Glazer Out stuff in the summer, because I felt it was just focused around the transfer window and bad results last season. And as soon as the season started, and the transfer window shut, and if we did okay on the pitch, it would all disintegrate. And that's exactly what's happened. So, look, I don't like the owners of Manchester United, and technically I am Glazers Out, like most top Reds are. I'm not calling myself a top Red, but most Manchester United fans are Glazers Out. They just didn't trust what happened in the summer to start being vocal about it, because if they're vocal about it, they want to see an end result. And obviously it's just disintegrated. I know there's still a little bit of it out there, but it's nowhere near as ferocious as it was in the summer. And that makes me laugh, really, because it just shows how flippant that whole movement was. We're not getting the signings we want. We can't get the signings we want now because the transfer window's shut. We're doing all right on the pitch. Let's forget about it till next summer. You know? As I always said, if you're Glazers Out, you should have been Glazers Out when we won the Champions League in 2008. Because it's not about success, it's about the ownership of the club. Glazers are laughing at us while sitting on a pile of money, says Alec Dukas. They are. What a summer they've had. Spend 70 million quid. And then just keep taking all the profit. They're having a right old laugh. Waleed says, do you talk about Chelsea in your second channel? Yeah, we talk about all the clubs. I'm watching Everton and they're more creative than we were versus Wolves, says McCarthy. Yeah, but they're losing 1-0, aren't they? Let's sing Tony Martial's song for 90 minutes tomorrow, says 637. North Doheny Drive. I hope that you're not giving your address out there, mate. Zero Blade 57 says, I'm Glazers Out, but I'm scared of the alternative. It would be awful if United became another oil club like City and PSG. And Joe Dude says, Man United board annoyed me this summer. So many footballers out there to go for. Woodward needs to play Football Manager 2019. And Glazers don't care for United. We care for United, says Illa United. And King Ali 240, Mark, you're such a good streamer, and I think a midfielder is crucial for January transfer window. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what happens with it. Please do smash a like on the video before you go, everybody. Let's get 1,000 likes before we're done. I love the Friday night show because it's just a little bit more relaxed. I can have a beer or whatever, and we can just have a bit of a conversation. So thanks everyone who's joined me live. If you've not been able to catch it live, great. Please smash a like as well. And just do me a favour before you go. Link in the video description for That's Football. Please subscribe. You might never have heard of the channel. You might have watched a little bit of it. But please subscribe to it. I'm trying to get it up to 100k. And I am doing a watch along on there tomorrow for Liverpool versus Arsenal. It's more of a generic channel. This is the main channel, of course. And I've just uploaded the latest FIFA episode, which you'll probably quite find funny, me playing the latest United team at FIFA. You don't have to be a gamer to like it. It's just more of a chat while I'm playing. A lot of people do enjoy it. So please do subscribe to it. Links in the video description. Check that out. Tomorrow we are live at about 2 o'clock for the team news. Watch along, Crystal Palace. We'll also have the road trip with Flex. A lot of people enjoy that. He'll be up on his way up there. Big game. Got to win tomorrow, haven't we? I'll see you then.